at you all. See the love there that's sleeping, while my guitar gently weeps. Look at the floor and I see it needs sweeping. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know why nobody told you how to unfold your love. I don't know how someone controlled you. They bought and sold you. Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles, George Harrison, all-time, like one of the greatest songs of all time for sure. Shame I haven't on me for not having done this one earlier. But I'm going to make up for it by doing a few different versions. And this particular one I'm starting off with is the kind of the original demo with George Harrison, just some strings. I think it was used by Cirque du Soleil. But it's a beautiful version. A little different to the recorded one, which is a lot more kind of band orientated in a different key. But I think this is a nice one to start off with. Nothing particularly difficult. Standard tuning, capo on the 5th fret. I'm going to give you a couple of tips on the fingerings, and I think it might be a bit easier to do that in a close-up. So let's do that. So we're going to start here with a D minor chord, but one little variation. If you're used to playing the D minor with the 3rd finger on the 2nd string, for this particular song, I would recommend that you use your little finger. You will sometimes see me jump to that one, just because that's kind of my default one. But for this particular song, putting the little finger down is a better option, mainly because of this 2nd chord, which is a D minor with a C bass. So there's our D minor. We're just playing the thinnest 4 strings. For a D minor with a C bass, we want 3rd finger to go down in the 3rd fret of the 5th string. That's 3 frets above the capo, obviously. Okay, you're going to find that the 3rd finger probably mutes the 4th string. I think that's probably not a bad thing. It helps with the clarity, although if it does ring out, it doesn't sound particularly bad. But I think it's slightly better. D minor with a C bass, 4th string muted. Then we're going to lift off 3rd finger and move 2nd finger to the 2nd fret of the 5th string, which is really, I guess, a G7 over B would be the name of that particular grip. Okay, so 2nd finger, 2nd fret, open, 3rd fret with the little finger, 1st fret with the 1st finger. And then we've got a B flat bar chord. No getting around that one really, I'm afraid. If you want to do like your own version, i.e. not what's on the record, you can do this chord, which I quite like the sound of as well, which is a B flat 6. 1st finger, 1st fret, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, open 3rd string, which is this 6th, and the little finger in the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. You don't want to play the thinner string if you're going to do that particular version, or that one actually. You don't want thinner string. Okay, that's just one for if you struggle with that B-shaped bar chord. It's not what's on the record, but I think it sounds fine anyway. Sounds kind of a little bit more alternative, I guess. So that's the chord sequence. Right at the beginning, it goes to a D minor, then to a C add 9, and then drops back to C. So from the D minor there, leave little finger down, put your whole C chord down, then lift off little finger so that it reveals that note there with the 1st finger on it. It's on the 2nd string. Okay, it's just part of the melody element. So the intro will be D minor over C, G7 over B, to B flat, D minor, C, D minor. A couple little twiddles which we'll go through a little later on, I think. Okay, let's go through the verse now. So we're starting with pretty much the same sequence. So D minor. I look at the C bass, to the B bass, to B flat chord, D minor, that's going to C, then to G. Okay, now this particular G, I'm just using my 3rd and 4th fingers. 5th string is muted if you're going to do that one, but if you're uncomfortable with doing that, you could definitely do a regular G chord or that G, it doesn't really matter. And then it's to an A chord. Now again, you could use that fingering. I tend to use a 2nd finger bar up there. That would be my default one usually to play an A chord, would be my 1st finger. But if you want to try and use the 2nd finger, particularly going to the D minor like this, it's in the same fret already. And I quite like doing this little sus chord thing. Again, it's not what's on the record, but it's a nice way of kind of adding a little bit of interest into the rhythm part if you wanted to add an A sus4. I find that easier using the 2nd finger in this particular example, but you could use that one or that one, or even that one if you fancy trying to get those 3 fingers that way. That's kind of not really recommended, that version, but any one of those will do. And the second time through, that sequence is slightly different just at the end. So I look at the C bass to the B bass to B flat chord, D minor, while my key C goes to F to A. Okay, so that whole verse sequence now, D minor, then to C bass, with a B bass, then to B flat, D minor, then it's to C, then to G, to A. A D minor with a C bass, then to B bass, then to B flat, D minor, then it's to C, then to F to A. Beautiful little key change here. D chord to F sharp minor. There's no getting around bar chords in this one. It's a regular D going to F sharp minor, to B minor, and back to F sharp, then E minor for 2 bars of E minor, then to A, or I think it sounds to me more like A7. It's that again. D, I don't know, F sharp minor, B minor to F sharp, E minor, 2nd bar of E minor, then to A, and then it's back to the verse. Okay, so you can see the basic chord sequences are not particularly difficult, but there's a lot of other things going on there that you can do. But let's start by keeping it simple and look at the basic strumming first of all. So the idea here, the most basic one is what I call Old Faithful. Down, down, up, up, down. So down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. Okay, now what you want to be aware of here is that the beat 1 and beat 4 are kind of a little bit bass heavy. So bass, 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 bass. Okay, and the upstrokes, we can start to pick out notes as well. So down, down, up, up. See, down, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, here I'm putting a little, I'm picking specifically the thinner string and the 2nd string. Down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, up. You definitely want to be working on something like that, just keeping it nice and simple on the D minor before you start trying to do anything more fancy. Just keep with that. If you can do that. Now you can see straight away I'm adding a little bit of the melody. And all I'm having to do is lift my little finger off if I've learned how to do. Down, down, up, down, up. Okay, and just picking out the note of the chord on the upstrokes. Down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. there's lots of different ways of getting fancy with it. I can't help it myself. It's such a beautiful song to play like that for exploring little twiddly bits, you know. Right at the very intro, that's all that's happening. So it's going. There's a little down, down, up, down, up. Sorry, down on that last one. Down. Just keeping that hand moving. Can you see how no matter how fancy I get, the strumming hand just keeps moving? No matter how fancy stuff I do. Okay, so sometimes I might have to break the pattern, but generally speaking, I'm trying to keep that strumming hand moving as consistently as I can. It's one of the tricks to getting that style where you're strumming and picking out notes kind of consistent. It's a beautiful thing, but for beginners, don't feel like you have to get into doing any of that. Just be happy to stick with just regular down, down, up, down, 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 up. You know, a song like this is so beautiful, you don't need to do any fancy stuff, really. And the original George Harrison one, there's nothing really fancy going on at all. A little bit at the beginning there, but otherwise there's no trickery. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song and a beautiful piece of guitar playing. So don't be in a hurry to fancy it up, but if you want to, it's a song that really lends itself to introducing some of those ideas. Just a couple of other points on the chorus. Okay, I don't know, fits nicely under the D. Okay, that's not really reachable to play that melody, but you hear nobody told you. I'm kind of making this up as I go now. I mean, uncharted territory, but that's a nice little riff, A7 riff that you can use there. Again, it's not what's on the record, I'm just showing you a couple of little fancier things. That's the second and third fingers both in the second fret on the second and fourth strings. Then second fingers up on the fourth fret, like 4 frets higher than the capo, and first fingers in the third fret, both on the second and fourth strings. Again, no, both on the second and fourth strings, on the second and fourth strings. They can't both be on the same strings, can they? And then second and third fingers on the both in the 5th fret, on the second and fourth strings, respectively. Just a nice movement there for the little A7. But I think that's probably enough to get you started on this one. I hope you have a lot of fun playing this tune. It really is one of the most beautiful songs of all time, and there's a lot of different approaches to playing it. So this particular version, like I said, is the original George Harrison kind of demo version, but I'm also going to do the version which is in open position based around an A minor shape, which kind of lends itself a little bit more to a nice chord melody, okay? So if you want to try and play the chords and the melody at the same time, kind of fits better in that position, and that's, I think, what was played on the original kind of band recording version as well. It's a little easier to play, to be honest, because it's in open position and the chords it's a bit less bar chordy, but you still need some bar chords to be able to play it. But it's just, yeah, any way that you play this song seems to work really well because it's such a strong song. It's the great thing about amazing songs like this. Anyway, look, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.